Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Brandon here, back for another check this out edition of my channel. It's been like 3 months since I've done one of these, so I had a lot of stuff to choose from, but there was some stuff that I really wanted to talk about. Some great stuff. I've got a couple tapes, a CD, then a bunch of records. So, just gonna go right into it here. First up, this is the new album from Moanin of Zezbeth, I believe is how you pronounce that. Two-piece black metal band from Belgium. They had an amazing demo come out last year, my favorite demo of the year by far. And then this is the follow-up full-length to that, Ancient Spells of Darkness. Just came out on cassette from Nuclear War Now Productions. This is the first edition. There's not a CD out yet. There's not a vinyl out yet. I assume there will be, but I just had to hear this based on how good the demo from last year was. And if you're not familiar with Moanin of Zezbeth, I believe, I'm not entirely sure, it's rumored, it might have been confirmed, but I believe it's the same guys responsible for Perverted Ceremony. So, if you've watched this channel before, you know how much I love Perverted Ceremony. Moanin of Zezbeth is very similar. It's got that same kind of old Samael, Beharit feel, maybe a little bit of a necromantia from Greece thrown in there. Really great shit. Very primitive sounding. If you didn't know anything about this, there's no way that you would think that this came out in 2018. It sounds like it came out of, that time period of like the early 90s. So I think it's fantastic. I've listened to it a couple times. I'm going to let it digest a little bit more before I start, saying how good it is relative to other things that have come out this year. But so far, so good. Very promising. Love that release so far. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time just to, let things click, let things soak in. So this one has had plenty of time for me. Torture Rack, Malefic Humiliation. This is one of my favorite death metal releases of the year so far. Torture Rack from Portland, Oregon. This was released by Headsplit Records. This is just absolutely barbaric, gruesome sounding death metal. They had another album come out a couple years ago, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, called Barbaric Persecution, I believe. You can tell just by looking at these guys what you're going to get on this album. It is just bare-knuckle brutality from Torture Rack. Favorite tracks of mine have got to be Festering Castration, Corpse Revenge, Found in Feces, Destined for Dog Meat. I mean, there's no secret to what's going on here. It's just straight up death metal, barbaric, grimy, rowdy shit. I fucking love this album. Keep an eye out for this. I've got the CD coming from 20 Bucks Spin, and Parasitic Records pressed it on vinyl, so there's plenty of options out there. And then a CD, which was kind of a blind buy for me. I listened to one song off of it and then hit order. This is Supreme Carnage with Morbid Ways to Die. It's a joint release with Redefining Darkness Records and Raw Skull Records. Labels that I am familiar with. Raw Skull, totally dedicated to old school death metal. Redefining Darkness, I'm sure I have some shit from that label in my collection. I listened to the title track off of this, Morbid Ways to Die, and was hooked. I mean, it just sounds like old school, kind of a Swedish death metal. I believe this band is from Germany, but it sounds, to my ears, it sounds more Swedish, maybe even, Dutch, like from the Netherlands, that style. But yeah, I mean, there's, this isn't anything special, this isn't anything reinventing the wheel, but if you like really solid, old school sounding death metal with a hint of that touch of Swedish you know, grinding buzzsaw guitar attack, powerful vocals. Yeah, check out Supreme Carnage. I have no idea if they have any other albums. So, you know, I've been listening to this one a lot, and I really wanted to talk about it. So, there you have it. And then I have a couple brand new 7-inches, and I'm not sure if I've ever showed a 7-inch here on my channel. Actually, I definitely have, but I don't very often. So, I mean, I have like a little over 100 of them. So, if you guys want to see more of them, I have them. Just let me know. But this one is one I'm sure you've all seen before. This is the new split from Vastum and Spectral Voice. Here you have the Vastum track, Gagging on a Gash, along with the Spectral Voice track, Katabatic Depths. Very old school looking presentation on this, which is nice. I like it. Comes with this little printed piece of paper, some extra artwork on it, rotting mouth, some kind of lyrics or some shit on here, tying in with the release. There were 2 variants of this. It came on regular black vinyl, and then this transparent blue vinyl. It's like an icy kind of blue, almost. I love both of these bands, and I love both the tracks on here, but gun to my head, if you were asking me to choose a favorite side on here, I would have to give it to Vastum. I mean, there's a bunch of bands out in California right now. You know, Vastum, Extremity, Necrot, Skolex, I believe is from California, that just have this kind of this West Coast death metal sound going on, and it's fucking fantastic. Acephalix is another one, same vocalist from Vastum and Acephalix. So yeah, I mean, Vastum really brings it here. Not to take away from what Spectral Voice does on this 7-inch, but I mean, you guys all know who Spectral Voice are, but Vastum, I think, kind of steals the show on that 7-inch. And then this one just came in today. This is Catalyst with Passage into the Zazanath. I guess that's how you pronounce that. But Catalyst, that is, I believe, the correct pronunciation. Almost positive of that. Montreal, kind of technical death metal, but technical in a very old school way. Very much reminiscent of Demolic. Very low, brutal, growling style of vocals, kind of guttural. The guitar work on here, like I said, it's a little bit more on the technical side, but it's riffy as fuck. It's not just, you know, mindless noodling. The bass work on here is fantastic. There's kind of a bass break at the beginning of the song Passage into the Zazanath, which is awesome. And then on the B side, there is a cover of the band Crematory, Beneath the Crypts, and that is the Swedish Crematory, not the terrible, shitty other Crematory. But if you're not familiar with Catalyst, they have a full length out on Profound Lore Records that was fucking amazing. This came out on Profound Lore as well. It's brand new. I believe there was only 200 copies pressed of this. 100 on purple, and then 100 on red. There might be a classic black version that's not as limited. I don't remember. I just remember seeing the limitations for the colored vinyl, so I wanted to snag one of those. Which, you know, a lot of people kind of talk shit about colored vinyl these days, but a lot of people also love it. Me, personally, it's not a deal breaker. I mean, I'll get something on black vinyl just so I can, you know, have a physical copy of it. The color for me it's not, you know, a deal breaker, like I said before. It's not like I'm not going to get it if I can't get a colored copy. However, if there are more limited colored copies available, sure, why wouldn't I go for those? I mean, I collect records, but, you know, I also like to listen to them, but, you know, from the collector's aspect, having something that's more limited, you know, why wouldn't you go for that? I don't know. That's just a matter of personal preference, I suppose. And then get into some full-length territory here. This is The Acquisitor, with Downfall of the Apostates. This was a joint release. Night Shroud Records released the vinyl. Dark Descent released the CD. This is just on black vinyl. Kind of a bare bones presentation on here. It's like a cardboard sleeve, and it has a really kind of massive poster with the very strange artwork that accompanies this release. Let's see if this is upside down. There we go. Yeah, as you can see, this artwork is very strange and abstract looking. And it's not made out of your typical poster paper either. It's more like a thick cardstock. So, you know, I found that very interesting when I received this. I don't have very many records that are packaged like this. It also comes with a printed inner sheet with lyrics. Band photo there. Dequisitor is from Denmark. If you like shit like Undergang and Frenolith, Dequisitor will be right up your alley. They had a full length prior to this, self-titled. This is brand new, 2018 release. Downfall of the Apostates. The title track on here is amazing. Tetrad of Lunar Eclipses, Metatron, and then the final track, War on the Gods. Awesome, awesome death metal. You know, I feel like 75% of the shit I show on here is death metal, so, you know, if that's what you came here for, I'm not letting you down. This is a great release. It'll definitely be on my 2018 best of list. Awesome shit from Denmark. Dequisitor. Downfall of the Apostates. This is one that I'm not sure if I talked about. I got the CD a while ago. The record a couple months ago, I guess now. It's been a little while since I made one of these videos, like I said. So I'm not sure if I've talked about this one already, but I'm going to anyways because it's really good. This is Ataraxy, entitled Where All Hope Fades. I believe from Spain. This is a death doom band. Me Saco Un Ojo released the vinyl version. Just black vinyl once again. Absolutely crushing material from Ataraxy. This is the only stuff that I've heard from them. I do believe there's older material, but if I can remember correctly, I think it's been a while since they released some material, so I was not familiar with Ataraxy. I'm guessing that there's a lot of other people that aren't familiar with Ataraxy, so that is the purpose of these videos. That's why I take the time to make them and talk about these records, is because if I think something is really good, I want other people to listen to it, and hopefully they think it is really good. And, you know, this right here is great. There's one song, which I believe the lyrics are in Spanish, as Hembras de Hibierno. That's my best attempt at Spanish. But then there's great shit on here like Matter Lost in Time, The Morning Path, the opening track, The Absurdity of a Whole Cosmos. Really great, heavy death doom styled shit from Ataraxy, Where All Hope Fades. And then these next two records are both from bands that I just saw on tour. I went down to see them in Philadelphia, and then they played closer to me in New Jersey, so I went to see them twice in 3 days. First band is Tomb Mold. This is their brand new record, Manner of Infinite Forms. Came out on 20 Buck Spin Records. Really great artwork. I believe a lot of their art and lyrics are based off of video games. Now there's specific video games, but I'm not like a gamer. I don't know what these games are, but I've seen it talked about. I just can't remember what exactly it is. But if it looks familiar to you, if when you're reading the lyrics it sounds familiar, just know that it's from a video game. Awesome colored vinyl here. Orange, blue, or purple and green splatter. Kind of matches the artwork. They're from Toronto, Canada. This is their second full-length release. They had a full-length come out just last year called Primordial Malignity, which was great. I believe it ended up in the top 20, or very close to, in my best of 2017 list. This is outstanding. This so far is my favorite death metal record release of the year, with the new Torture Rack that I just showed, right behind it. Manner of Infinite Forms, Bloodmere, Abyss Walker, Gourd Embrace, Two Worlds Become One. And if you get a chance to see them live, do it. I think their tour is coming to a close right now. They're playing in Toronto tonight, I believe, so they're done. But there's a lot of hype surrounding this band right now, and sometimes that will turn people off. I know people who will specifically make an effort not to listen to something if they believe the hype for it is too great, which I think is fucking retarded. In most cases, it's my belief that there is hype behind a band or a record because it's fucking good. And why would you want to deprive yourself from a fantastic listening experience just because a lot of other people like it? That to me is stupid. So definitely, if you haven't yet, I can't imagine that you haven't, at least heard of this band yet, but Tomb Mold with Manner of Infinite Forms. Keep an eye and ear out. I promise you, you will not regret it. And then the band that they were on tour with, Of Feather and Bone. This is Bestial Hymns of Perversion. This came out on Profound Lore Records as well. Like the silver foil stamped there. Just black vinyl for this one. Back cover. They're a 3-piece. Just drum, guitars, bass. 7 tracks on here. It's a little bit of a shorter listen, but seeing them twice, I think they played the entirety of this album. And if you ask me, their older stuff is nowhere near as good as this. This is easily their best material, so I can understand why they're playing only stuff off of this. They're from Denver, Colorado, and again, a fantastic live band. I mean, for a 3-piece, sounded absolutely monstrous. Really, really nice guys too. So for me, if I meet a band and they're really nice and they're very appreciative of people coming out to the shows and supporting and all that stuff, in my book that goes a long way. And so it just makes it that much better that I bought this record, I liked it a lot, and then I met those guys and they were super nice, super chill. That just reinforces how much I like this, as well as their live performance. I'll find when I see bands live, I tend to not listen to them a lot leading up to the show, but then after the show, if I was really into the performance and those songs get stuck in my head, I'll listen to their music for a couple weeks straight after I've seen them. I know a lot of people probably do the opposite. That's just how my brain functions and how my listening rituals kind of go. And then the final record on here, this is Wayfarer with World's Blood. Another release off of Profound Lore. I didn't realize when I was putting together all of this stuff that I was kind of aping Profound Lore here. But this is kind of self-entitled as Black Metal of the American West. And it definitely has that kind of feeling, that kind of atmosphere to it. I don't consider this atmospheric black metal. There's probably a little bit of atmosphere to it, but I kind of hate that word. I think it's tremendously overused when people are talking about black metal in particular. But really awesome. Isaac from Blood Incantation, their drummer, plays drums in this band, so that's how I found out about Wayfarer. Vinyl here is clear with gold splatter. It was supposed to have black splatter on it as well, but the pressing plant just forgot to put it in. I thought, you know, with the black splatter, it would have matched nicely with this kind of silhouette of the man on the horse here. But, you know, that's really of no concern. I mean, I'm not going to be like, hey, take this back, I don't want it. But there's some really, really, really great shit on here. The opening track, Animal Crown, has this kind of drum beat, like, it sounds like a horse galloping, like, it really, you know, that drum beat for me sets the tone for the whole record, and it kind of creates that, you know, again, I hate to use this word, but this atmosphere of, you know, the old West here in the United States, cowboys, you know, the desert plains, Native Americans, things like that. The side B on here for me is phenomenal. I listen to it a lot right before I'm going to sleep or as I'm going to sleep because it's got that kind of mood for me. The Crows Ahead Cry War is my favorite track on here, and then it goes into The Dreaming Plain and A Nation of Immigrants. And it's just really, you know, for me, this kind of black metal is very kind of chill and relaxing. It's not super harsh. It's not super cold. It's not like grim. This isn't like Norwegian style icy cold black metal. This has a totally different feel to it. It's definitely, you know, kind of American sounding. Like I can see, you know, people who are into bands like Krallice or Yellow Eyes. I can see people that like those kind of bands being into this, but I don't want to, you know, try and put a square peg into a round hole, because I do think that this album in particular has a sound pretty unique to its own. I can't say that I've ever really truly heard anything like this album, and I think that that is one of the highest praises that I can give to an album, because in today's music realm, there are so few things that are truly unique. It's hard to be original these days and stand out from the pack. So when you're able to accomplish that, there's not much more that I need to say. So this does all the talking for me. Wayfarer, World's Blood, outstanding record. I will leave some links down below where you can go listen to and purchase any of these albums if you so choose. Thanks as always for tuning in to these videos, watching, liking, subscribing, all that cool shit. And until the next time, take care.